Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to Soul Sync Living. Have you ever felt bloated, tired, or just off and suspected food was the culprit, but you just couldn't figure out which one? You might have even heard about food intolerance tests and wondered if they hold the answer. Stick around, because today we're diving deep into what these tests really are, what science says, and how a holistic perspective can completely change the way you see them. This isn't just about what to eat, it's about understanding your body on a whole new level. So, what are these food intolerance tests we hear so much about? You might have seen names like ImuPro or Food Detective. These tests typically involve a simple blood sample, which is then analyzed to measure something called e.g. antibodies. IgG stands for immunoglobulin G. The idea is that your body produces these specific e.g. antibodies in response to certain foods it might be struggling with. Now, it's super important to understand that food intolerance is not the same as a food allergy. A classic food allergy, mediated by IgG antibodies, usually causes an immediate and often severe reaction, like hives, swelling, or even anaphylaxis. It's your body's emergency alarm system going off. Food intolerance, on the other hand, is much more subtle. The symptoms are often delayed, appearing hours or even days after you've eaten the offending food. This makes it incredibly tricky to pinpoint the cause. You might have had a banana on Monday and not feel the effects until Wednesday. The common complaints people link to food intolerances are things many of us experience daily and might just brush off as normal. We're talking about persistent bloating that makes you uncomfortable in your clothes, a deep sense of fatigue that coffee can't fix, that frustrating brain fog where you can't seem to think clearly, skin issues like eczema or acne that just won't go away, or even chronic headaches and migraines. Because these symptoms are so widespread and non-specific, it's easy to see why people are searching for a straightforward answer. And a food intolerance test seems to offer just that, a neat list of yes and no foods. But here's where the conversation gets interesting. What does mainstream medical science have to say about these IgG tests? Well, the consensus from major allergy and immunology organizations is quite skeptical. The prevailing scientific view is that the presence of IgG antibodies to a certain food doesn't necessarily mean you're intolerant to it. Instead, they argue that IgG is simply a marker of exposure. In other words, your body produces IgG antibodies to foods you eat regularly. It's a normal physiological response, a sign that your immune system has seen that food and recognizes it. It's like a memory log of your diet, not a list of enemies. From this perspective, a test showing high IgG levels for wheat, dairy, and eggs might just mean you eat a lot of bread, cheese, and omelets. It doesn't automatically prove that these foods are causing your symptoms. Consequently, many researchers and doctors argue there is limited high-quality clinical evidence to support the idea that following an elimination diet based solely on IgG test results is effective for treating most conditions. The gold standard in conventional medicine for identifying food sensitivities remains the elimination diet, followed by a controlled food challenge. This is where you remove suspected foods for a period and then reintroduce them one by one, carefully monitoring your body's reactions. It's more time-consuming, but it directly links cause and effect for your unique body. So, does this mean these tests are completely useless? Well, not so fast. Let's switch gears and look at this from a holistic viewpoint. In the world of holistic health and functional medicine, these tests are rarely seen as a definitive diagnosis. They aren't a black and white verdict. Instead, they're viewed as a valuable guidance tool, one piece of a much larger puzzle. Think of it less like a final judgment and more like a set of clues pointing you in the right direction. A holistic practitioner might look at a test result with high reactivity to many different foods and not just say, okay, stop eating all these things. Instead, they would ask, why is the body reacting to so many foods in the first place? A long list of reactive foods might not mean you're intolerant to all of them. It could be a powerful sign of a deeper underlying issue. For example, it might point to intestinal permeability, what many call leaky gut. When the gut lining is compromised, undigested food particles can pass into the bloodstream, triggering an immune response and the production of IgG antibodies. So the problem isn't the 20 different foods. The problem is the compromised gut barrier that's letting them through. These tests can also highlight a state of immune overload. If your immune system is constantly being triggered by chronic stress, environmental toxins, or hidden infections, it can become hyperreactive, and food can be one of the things it starts overreacting to. Your body is basically on high alert, and even harmless foods can get caught in the crossfire. Chronic stress is a huge factor here. When you're constantly in a fight or flight state, your digestion is one of the first things to get downgraded. Your body isn't focused on properly breaking down your lunch when it thinks you running from a tiger. This can lead to improper digestion and subsequent immune reactions. So from a holistic perspective, the true path to healing isn't just about creating a long list of foods to avoid forever. That can be restrictive, stressful, and sometimes even lead to nutrient deficiencies. The real goal is to understand and address the why. Why is your body reacting this way? The focus shifts from simply avoiding the trigger foods to healing the root cause. This could mean working on gut health by incorporating soothing herbs, probiotics, and gut-healing foods. It could mean developing stress management techniques like meditation, breath work, or spending time in nature. It might involve supporting your body's detoxification pathways. The food intolerance test in this context becomes a temporary roadmap. It can help you identify the foods that are currently adding the most burden to your system. Removing them for a period, say, 3 to 6 months, can act like a calming balm. It gives your immune system a break and reduces inflammation, creating a window of opportunity for your body to heal. It quiets down the noise so you can get to work on the underlying issues. Then, as your gut heals and your system rebalances, you can often successfully reintroduce many of those foods without any issues. The ultimate aim is not food restriction, but food freedom. It is about building a resilient digestive and immune system that can handle a wide variety of whole foods without reacting. So, if you've been considering one of these tests, or you have results that feel overwhelming, I invite you to see it through this wider lens. Don't see it as a life sentence of dietary restrictions. See it as a personalized clue from your body, an invitation to look deeper. It's a starting point for a journey of healing, not the final destination. It is about asking why and empowering yourself with the knowledge to bring your body back into beautiful, harmonious balance. Thank you so much for joining me today at Soul Sync Living. I hope this brought some clarity and a new perspective to a confusing topic. If you found this helpful, please give this video a like and subscribe for more content on living a more conscious and holistic life. I'd love to hear your thoughts or experiences in the comments below. Sending you so much love.